Cool, it looks like we are live. Should be coming up here in a second. I'm going to try to refresh the stream. Get us going. I did not shave. That is apparent. So, today, you guys are probably wondering what exactly is going on, what is different from what I do on Twitch, or from what I do on YouTube. It's a little bit different from what I normally do in the sense that it's live, for one. Second of all, I'm going to be going over specific replays I've watched. I haven't watched the entirety of either of these replays. I've watched bits and pieces. And basically, we're just going to be, this show, the eSportsMonies show, I'm basically going to be going over really high-level pub players that specialize in somewhere between 1 and, I guess, an absolute maximum of 10 heroes. And then I'm going to be analyzing that. I'm going to be just following that hero around the game, judging their decisions, or not judging their decisions, but explaining why their decisions are good and why what they do is good or appropriate for the situation. Let me know if the stream cuts out or anything like that in the chat. I can see the chat on this monitor up here, that's why I'm always looking this way. At any point during the stream, fear not if the stream dies, because this is also local recording and will be uploaded as a separate YouTube VOD later on. Speaking of which, if you'll give me just half a second, I need to go to Team Liquid and tell Team Liquid that I'm online. I'm online. Cool. Alright, excellent, everything seems to be excellent. If I press this, we will go here. Cool. Now, if I didn't make it terribly, horribly, abundantly clear earlier, today's replay, the first replay we're going to be watching today is Matrice on his signature Terrorblade. He is one of the world's preeminent Terrorblade players. I say Terrorblade player, not Terrorblade picker. Wait for the program to respond. This happens with DotA sometimes because it's not the stablest game I've ever played. So, anywho, I'm not showing my face because I want to do the show a little bit more professionally, a little bit different than usual. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to 25. And I'll go ahead and skip to about here. Matrice insta-locking the TV per usual. Matrice is a 6.5k MMR French player, so relatively big name. And we are experiencing... I'm getting a little bit of lag here, but it shouldn't be anything too overwhelming. Meanwhile, we can already see Matrice has bought a Quelling Blade first, so he is switching this build up a little bit. He's sending out the illusions, most likely to scout these runes. I have not watched much of this game. I do like the fact that Matrice picked up the Quelling Blade at level 1. Another interesting question I was asked recently was, like, why would you get your circlet or your slippers, or just why in general would you prioritize getting the raw stats items over getting the Wraith Band early in the game? And the reason is because the raw bonus damage that you get from the Wraith Band doesn't apply to your illusions, therefore it's more efficient to have the extra stats. And you can see TB's, or Matrice is just kind of scouting his jungle here. Nature's Prophet is camping the DD, but I'm not interested in Nature's Prophet. I'm interested at Matrice, who just left the fountain at around 3 seconds, which I guess this is really cool. In fact, that's kind of awesome, because the way that the previous Matrice jungle build goes, you actually leave the fountain at a time where you have to wait like 8 seconds to buy the next item. But with this, you can just instantly leave. However, this does mean that illusions will be ticking. Go ahead and start tanking them now. Does unfortunately get the horrible centaur camps, which means that he will have to do some tanking of his own. Gonna let the illusion die now, just so that he doesn't have to tank either the auto attack or the right click from the centaur. Not the best jungle to start out with. In fact, one of the worst camps to start with. And it's a double centaur camp, so this is going to be a little bit rough for Matrice in the early game here. He doesn't go to that camp. He goes back to scout the medium camp for... No, I'm not sure. He's going to go ahead and start hitting the medium camp. Oh, and possibly stack this. Oh, he got his Metamorphosis now. The thing about Terrorblade, and this is one of those things that I haven't stressed as much in my guides, because it's a little bit more difficult to do, is if you get the Metamorphosis at level 2, even if you don't have the mana for illusions, you can kind of kite, and now he does have the mana for illusions, so that thing's going to die pretty quick. He should be able to kill this before the next minute mark comes up, which means there'll be another hard camp to kill, in addition to this medium camp, and Matrice will possibly have the choice of suiciding and going back to get items, or walking back, depending on what his financial situation looks like in about 10 seconds. It's definitely borderline. Let's see what he can buy with that. He could buy... He finishes the Wraith Band. Give me a second. I am so sorry. Game is paused, and I need to go... busy. Okay. So he's going to go ahead and tank this out. He is going to take the suicide option, it seems. He was kiting to get an extra right click in on the Centaur. We'll go back to base, go ahead and pick up his parts for Wraithband. One of the things he did that was really cool was that he bought out close to perfectly. There was about maybe 50 gold left. Maybe something, give or take 50. But there wasn't quite enough for a Clarity. That's, I think, what he was doing. He was kiting away so that he would have enough gold to buy a Clarity when he finally did die. And at level, I know at level 1 this is true, but I believe at level 2 it's true as well. If you buy a Clarity or buy any item during the respawn time, you actually have enough time to sell the item back when you come back to life at no lost gold, which is really cool. You could buy a whole TP and save the gold. But if you're at a TP, you're probably just going to walk back to base because that's only 15 gold away from getting an item you actually want. So, meanwhile, the jungle is shaping up a little bit for Matrice. Shaping up pretty nicely, actually. This game will be pretty slow for the first part of it because it's just things that I've talked about a lot before. But as we move on into later stages of the game, you'll see the difference in the ability to find farm between players like Matrice and players like me. The 6.5k MMR French player. Absolutely insane. Finishes the second Wraith Band, of course. Probably going to go ahead and start putting together his last Wraith Band before he gets Brown Boots. At least that is the standard a la Matrice build. Going to go ahead and check the rune. If there's a regen there, it would be huge. There is not. It is a regen bottom, however, though. A regen rune would have been pretty massive there because Matrice could have actually gone back to mid, got a last hit, leveled up, and then pushed down the tier 1 mid. So that would have been huge for him, but lucky enough to get a regen, unlucky enough that it was at the other side of the map. And Matrice is a player that experiments a lot with what he does, as far as changing up his item builds and trying to optimize his jungle early game. I've seen... Out of his last 4 or 5 Terrorblade games that I've seen him play, he's used probably 3 different starting item builds, so it's pretty cool. I see this evolving a lot. And looking at the chat, there is plenty of Kappa. Is this League of Legends? This is League of Legends. Hope you guys like my LOL stream. This is Terrorblade. He's a new champion that, he's really good though, so he's really good, so he costs like, I don't know, $50 or $60 to play. So Matrice does opt to get the Brown Boots before he gets his second Wraith Band, but I guess since he's walking back to base and not suiciding, just based on the point in the game and the amount of money he has, getting Brown Boots and having them delivered to him is probably a better decision than getting the Wraith Band, especially because he can just pick up like 2/3 of the Wraith Band right now, which is pretty cool. Meanwhile, doing a little bit of kiting, Matrice is so big on this sort of weird kiting play. Like, he did a lot of, that's actually a decent bit of damage considering he's a level 5 illusion, or a level 3 illusion of a level 5 hero. So, in roaming back to the jungle, it is about 6 minutes in. Matrice's farm is not that great, but Matrice has also had one of the worst jungles imaginable. Probably will... Actually, he has enough money to finish that third Wraith Band now and can start working on that Yasha. I'm going to actually go over and switch to Matrice's perspective. And I can see Matrice looking around the map a little bit, which probably means that he's thinking about getting that tier 1 tower, as it is sort of his specialty, because it's about 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and his Metamorphosis is about to come off cooldown, which means he'll have the ability to push really soon. The only thing that I'm a little bit confused about is why he doesn't have the second Wraith Band, but he's probably just saving the courier so his allies can use it. And it is a walking courier, so not the nicest of situations to be in. Walking courier at 7 minutes, not that great. Meanwhile, checking out mid,
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
his team is getting destroyed relatively hard in this game. And it looks like he will make the decision to knock... I believe he's going to push the top tower. Yeah. And this is very convenient, because you see that team fight going on mid and you lose the tier 1 tower, but now their top tower is pretty exposed, and Matrice has level 3 illusion, level 3 metamorphosis, so he's actually doing a boatload of damage. And if you can see on the minimap, the only player that's actually in any position to do anything about this is a Nature's Prophet. And it looks like, at this rate, Matrice will probably be able to get his Yasha at around 10 minutes per usual, but he does have to back now. There are TPs coming and a rotation from our blue Skywrath Mage. And it looks like he is opting for a Ring of Aquila, which is actually very, very rare to see Matrice going for this style of play. So I'm actually pretty curious about this. I don't think I've ever seen Matrice rock out with a Ring of Aquila, especially not this early in the game. For me, it was, at least personally, the way that I used the ring is I always, later on in the game when I sold 2 of my Wraith Bands, if I were usually in a tight situation where I was going to fight soon, I would just pick up the Ring of Aquila anyway. And if I didn't have the Scotty yet, then the little bit of mana regeneration was pretty big. I mean, TB is a relatively mana-starved hero. Sorry, you can hear some typing going on in the background as Lara is playing some DotA. Hi, Twitch. Damn it, I thought busy would block that, so I'm just going to go offline for a minute. Sorry, guys. We are at 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Yeah, that dude just got denied. I mean, the bottom lane is just not looking good for TB's side. The thing... This is, spoiler alert, this is a game that Matrice loses. However, in looking at the replay, his GPM was extremely high. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the GPM window. And he's number 4 in the game right now at 330. Wisp actually has the highest GPM. Now PL's taken it over. But regardless, I guess the little bit of extra push from the ring is okay. Maybe it's just because he's so far behind and he's worried about not being able to get farm. But regardless, he's in a pretty rough situation. And the ring's mana regeneration is going to be doing a lot pretty soon. He's not going to be able to do anything. Oh no, he will. The new creep whip has arrived. He's got to back up a little bit. Yep, changes the creep. One of those things you can't really see, but one of those things that's really important that he just did was he changed the aggro from his illusion to one of the creeps so that he could continue to hit the tower with it. His illusions, TB, everything about TB is really a glass cannon. Like, you need to think almost like a sniper, like you're really a positional hero. He doesn't seem like he's that positional, but when you're talking about a hero that does that much damage and has the ability to swap his life with the enemy's current life, he's a very naturally positional hero. Meanwhile, the rest of his team's getting wrecked, but I'm not worried about the rest of his team. I am worried about Matrice's play. And the Wisp is coming in. This could be disastrous. TB is probably toast. He is dead. Observer Ward reveals him. That's got to be kind of confusing if that just happened to you as Matrice, just because that's a very unusual time for there to be an Observer Ward right there. Like, that's usually a laning phase ward. But if you know Matrice and you know Jungle Terrorblade in general, you know he's a hero that oftentimes will be using the jungle as a safe place to grab farm for most of the time. So it makes sense to put that ward there, but it's kind of creative and it's kind of surprising. Like, I would never expect for for there to be a ward there from the Radiant team at this point in time during the game.
Middle tower is under attack.
And I will answer questions about this replay when the game ends. The next replay that I'm going to be going over today is going to be Attacker's Kunkka, which I am admittedly a little bit more prepared for.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Guys,
TB.
you need to defend.
Okay, the puck does land the ultimate. It looks like Terrorblade should be able to get at least a kill here, unless that Wisp just balls out of control. Wisp is doing... Oh my god, that Wisp! Wow. It's a fucking good Wisp. Ooh, now Matrice is really low and does not have that ultimate, which is kind of a scary place to be in because he has used his Metamorphosis and he does want to take down that tower with the Metamorphosis up. So, it's kind of a bad position to be in. Notice how Matrice doesn't carry a TP until he never buys a TP like the whole game because he rushes a Yasha and then he gets Boots of Travel. He does pay for that with his life, but I don't think he lost that much gold. Like, I guess he did because he just got a chunk from getting the middle tower. So he loses a decent chunk of gold, but honestly, not that bad off, especially considering he just knocked down that tower. Again, I'm talking about Matrice's play. I'm not really focusing on the state of the game because Matrice, again, will lose this game. I don't know how he wins it. I have no idea how Matrice's GPM ends up to be as high. Like, at the end of this game, Matrice has an extremely high gold per minute, and I'm watching this game wondering how he goes about achieving that. Especially when he's this far behind and his team is just getting stomped on left and right. I think this is a story about a Radiant team that wastes way too much time trying to fight. However, Matrice is opting to go in for this fight, which is kind of strange. I would personally just be split pushing, but Matrice is way better than I'll probably ever be at this hero.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's courier has been killed.
And again, I'm not being as analytical or as... Oh god, the
Dire's
fucking
middle tower is under attack.
Tuskar is feeding couriers, that's not good. But yeah, anyway, I'm not being as detailed, I guess, with the analysis of what's going on here, just because I've published a lot on TV already. So the basics of the hero should be relatively straightforward. He is going to take down that Wisp pretty easily. And he got that level 10 slow, which is really strange for the way that Matrice plays. He did end up dying there. It's not good. He does have... I mean, even in this situation, his team is down 24-6. Matrice is about to have a Yasha, 2 Wraith Bands, a Quelling Blade, a Ring of Aquila, and Boots of Travel at a sub 15-minute time. And this is with a 10,000 experience and a 12,000 gold lead favoring the Radiant. So this is mostly individual farm. This is a couple tower kills and a lot of efficiently farming the jungle and fighting effectively. What is... KDA at the moment is 241 and still pulling out this kind of money. I think the Radiant's overextending here a bit by sticking around this long, but... Oh no, he's toast. That was really bad. I think he should have bought out there. However, this is also a game where Matrice is probably having to play with people that are hundreds of MMR lower than him, because that's what happens to you when you have 6,500 MMR.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
How long is this match? So we've got another 5 minutes or so. I'm just... Am I seeing the right game? Like... Give me just a moment. Can I check without going online and getting spammed by everyone? View Dota profile. This is the one. Okay. It's not the video. It's not the game I thought of, I don't think. But regardless, it will still serve the purpose. He will finish at 500 GPM, so the same GPM that the Nature's Prophet is right now. The Nature's Prophet has a Dagon 4 at 16 minutes and Treads and Ring of Basilius. So, still going to be a relatively large amount of farm for Matrice, even in this game where he's getting completely stomped.
Hey, fat dudes, your middle Rex is like chopped liver. Forget about it. Dire's
However,
tower is under attack.
I like how Matrice decided to get the Sanjin Yasha in this situation, because I would have just thought full rat, full rat, full rat, get the Boots of Travel. But he sees them knocking on his front door and realizes that he can't push faster than they can. The game's over anyway. The only chance he has is to try to stand and fight them off. And so he is using the Sanjin Yasha rather than focusing on the speed and the general mobility of the Boots of Travel. That is a farmed-ass Wisp. Wait a second. Let's go back to free camera so we can keep a better eye on the trees here.
Bad dude's top is all nasty and brokey. Dire's top barracks are under attack.
And so, I guess Matrice is finally doing what I would do. It's kind of weird. I don't know if I like the idea to go with Sanjin Yasha when you could have got the Boots of Travel if you're just going to do this sort of play anyway. But I guess he probably thought it didn't matter at this point. Little survivability might be good.
Bad dude's Rex is now officially burger meat.
But one of the things you'll notice about Matrice, and one of the things you notice when you're playing TV, and this is true for almost every hero I play, if you fall behind, you don't give up, because you always have the ability to push with most of the heroes that I really enjoy playing. Either that, or you're just really good at winning the early game.
Yo, green dudes.
And you can see that his GPM's inflating really, really quickly, just due to the tower kills, and just due to getting the last hits while he's pushing there. So, even while he's losing this hard, he's still finding a way to make some money, which is, it's pretty impressive. It's not exactly a good, it's not a good trade at all, but at the same time, he's still making the most of the space that he has, and making a little bit of money.
Dire's Ancient is under attack.
Well, sorry guys, this replay was not as good as I thought it would be. It was the wrong replay, but I have seen the other replay that I have for you guys next, and it's a lot better. This is a much more action. My mouse is a... Oh, sorry, real quick. Any questions about the last game, or questions in general from anyone in the stream chat, just type them in the Twitch chat, and I will answer. Let me actually cut over to me! Cool. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, etc.? Anything in the Twitch chat? Anybody have any questions, comments, complaints? Will you play with me ever? Maybe. Maybe. I don't play that much anymore. I just watch a lot of Dota. Alright, well, guys, give me 30 seconds. I'm just going to flip the stream off and flip it back on so that the analysis of that game and the analysis of this coming game will be two separate thoughts. Really quickly, though, Akarin, are you talking about why TB always goes for... whenever he goes for the big satyr camp, he always goes for the smallest satyr, that little range ones, and the reason he does that is so that he can kill the... it's so that you can stack the camp, because it's really hard to stack that large satyr camp if you don't have the, if the little one's still alive. Add me, Apex Mind. Side dive. I don't know what question would be sensible to ask in this situation. But basically, Akarin, that's what I'm talking about. Generally speaking, he does go for the bigger creeps, but you do want to kill the ranged one in that situation. Otherwise, you just can't stack because the range of that creep is so long. Even though the creep's useless, it doesn't do any damage. It dies instantly. Even though it has like really all that considered, it still has this really long range. And when it has that really long range, you just have to kill it, or it's really hard to stack. Robot Llama, my dick size is about the same as your grandmother's dildo. Anyway, I will be back in about 30 seconds, however long it takes to refresh the stream.